What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate reverse rants, no hate. So, I saw a video of Oleksander Usyk, and he's talking about he's not ready mentally for the Anthony Joshua fight. So, if you're not ready mentally, you're pretty much not ready physically either, because the training that you would need to do to prepare yourself, I'm not on board. Now, this is what I'm going to say about his comment. I don't know if it's true or not, if he's saying it to make Anthony Joshua take him lightly, which I doubt would be the case. I think Anthony Joshua would be wise enough, he should be, put like that, regardless to, it's not so much what I think. He should be wiser than that, to know that regardless to what the situation is, and what Usyk is saying, that his job is to go in there and make sure that he's ready, that he's 100%. I said before, even if Usyk didn't make these comments, if Usyk loses to AJ, that's the excuse that people were going to use anyway, because people have already made it up in their minds that AJ is just simply not good enough to beat Usyk. There's no way that he can beat Usyk. So it doesn't matter what, even if Usyk would have said, I'm 100% and I'm ready to go right now, and Anthony Joshua still win, they would say Usyk is a humble guy. Usyk just didn't want to make excuses, and it really, AJ got lucky because Usyk wasn't. He couldn't been, because think of what happened, the trauma. They would have made all the type of excuses. Now, if Usyk is really true, like serious about what he's saying, then there would be no sense to do a disservice to yourself and to the paying fans, because that means you're walking in there knowing you're not 100%. Let's go back to Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz. When Serafina, we all saw the video where she said that Joey DeWaco called her and told her when he was supposed to fight Big Pharmacy Miller, right? Don't worry, y'all, it's going to be an easy night. I concussed Anthony Joshua. Remember that? And Anthony Joshua refused to even elaborate on that. When people would bring it up, he just kept saying, I'm fine. Nothing was wrong. The better man won. I just got to go back to the drawing board and come back and then get it right in the rematch. He would not admit to it. He wouldn't say anything. And what did people say? If Anthony Joshua knew he wasn't 100%, he should not have went through with the fight. He didn't use it as an excuse. And bottom line, every time someone says something happened to them doesn't mean it's a damn excuse. Things really happen, especially when you say that, fighters always fight and they're not 100%. Okay, some things are worse than others. Every injury's not the same. If you are a concussed fighter, my whole thing was when I watched the fight, I'm noticing he's getting hit, like he was going down from shots that didn't even look that hard. But regardless, he went through with the fight and still managed to get a knockdown in the third round against Ruiz. But it just looked weird, period. But then everybody was saying AJ didn't look right. Even Deontay Wilder was saying he didn't look right. Deontay Wilder fans were saying he didn't look right. And at the time, that was the big fight that everybody kept wanting to see. And they kept comparing the two of them. Regardless, he never brought it up, and he always stuck to, look, the better man won. No excuses. He didn't say anything. Okay, there's a time when certain things are a reason when something happens. Not an excuse, but a reason. So the same way that Anthony Joshua chose to go through with the fight, and we know that we heard what Serafina said. He was concussed, that Joey DeWaco called him and gave him a concussion. That he said that he told him what happened. He told her, and they passed the news on to Big Pharmacy Miller. And then, what happened with that situation. But that's how Ruiz ended up in the fight. Because, what happened with Big Pharmacy Miller failing his test. And they ended up replacing him with Ruiz. But the whole thing is, we know what was said. Okay, so for Usyk, it's the same thing. if you can tell the public you're not 100%, and this is true, like you really, because his words was, I'm not ready for the Anthony Joshua fight mentally. I'm not, the guy's talking like he's sincere. Now, if he's really sincere with what he's saying, he goes in there and gets beat, people are going to say Anthony Joshua only won because of that situation. It's still not an excuse. There's still not a reason. It's an excuse that becomes, instead of it being a reason, it's an excuse. So good reasoning would be, nah, I'm not going to go in there right now and I'm not ready. It makes no sense for me to do that. Right? We're not paying people are not paying to see you coming in, 80%, 70%. People want to see a fight. Now, regardless, and despite the people that would say, oh, AJ got lucky, then they would probably demand and want to see a third fight. Just so everybody feel like it's not a fluke. Well, at the end of the day, regardless, if you're saying you're not 100%, that's what he's basically saying. I'm not mentally ready because of the things that happened over there. Why go through with the fight? Reschedule. Now, whatever happens, happens. But my whole thing is, it's like somebody telling you, hey man, they got guns up there. It's a shootout going on. When you decide to pick up bottles and sticks, and it's like, do you have a gun? Yeah, okay. But you chose to not go get your guns. You didn't want to go get your guns. You wanted to continue with what you had or what you picked up on the way. But you were warned you were going into a gunfight. You got to use, so I don't know if that's bravado or if it's real. I guess in the coming weeks, we'll see what happens. If the fight is postponed, rescheduled, whatever it may be, if he goes through with it. But just to put that out there, like, when people said they got the news about the concussion, they said if he was concussed, then he should have called the fight off. And I feel the same way with Usyk. And I felt the same. Listen, the reason why we don't bring it up about AJ's situation is because AJ never mentioned the Joey DeWicko situation. It was everybody else speculating what they heard. And then Serafina clarified that yes, it was a fact that's what happened. Only thing for me, like I said, is when you know something ahead of time, and for you to go through with this fight, it could be bravado, like I said, just to lure Anthony Joshua into thinking that he's not 100% and breathe a little easier, and then all of a sudden you go in there and this man is the same as he was before. And it's like, damn, okay. But regardless, Anthony Joshua has a job to do as well. Because like we said, AJ has to be different in the rematch. Usyk is going to be Usyk. What is Usyk going to do different? Usyk is going to be Usyk. Whether, this is bravado or not, if the fight's still on, the outcome is going to be the outcome. And that's what we'll have to wait and see. But I don't condone a person going in the ring knowing that they're not 100%. And then when you lose, you can't make any excuses. Especially when you just told the world, I'm not 100% ready to fight Anthony Joshua. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. People are talking and making their own little opinions about things. I don't. My opinion being based on what they're saying. But as far as what's going to happen, I don't know what's going to happen. But I do know. I know they're going to make excuses if this fight goes on and Anthony Joshua wins. Even like I said, even if Usyk said the opposite and said I was 100%, they would say no, he's just being modest. Because like I said, people made up in their mind that there's no way in hell that AJ can win. And that's because they don't want to see AJ win. But at the end of the day, what's going to happen is going to happen. So once you made a conscious decision that injured or not, 100% or not, I'm going through with the fight, then it's on you. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.